Hello and welcome back to the Hustle Zone podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Edelman, and today we're going to be talking about the Giants signings, the rotation, and what the Padres moves mean to this division and your San Francisco Giants. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Hustle Zone. Let's just get right into it. The Giants in the past 2 weeks signed John Brabbia. I have no clue how to pronounce that last name. It's just a little weird because it's two B's and then it has IA and it's like either Braba or I don't know. But we signed him for $800,000 for 1 year. He's 30 years old and he's coming back from Tommy John. He originally played for the Cardinals for around 3 to 4 years, I think. I don't know. I don't have that information down. But he is coming back from Tommy John and had to miss the whole entire 2020 season. With his fastball, you'll see around mid 90s, anywhere from 93 to 96. And with his slider, his only other pitch, he throws around 82 to 84 miles per hour. In 2019, which is the last season he played in, he pitched in 66 games. In those games, he had 72.2 total innings pitched, a 10.78 strikeouts per nine, a 3.34 walks per nine, and a 7.31 hits per nine. I think everything there is either average or above average. He had a 2.4 WAR, I think, that season, or something like that. It might have been 1.4, but it's something 0.4. I don't know. I probably should have wrote that down, but the thing that stands out to me is mainly the strikeouts. He seems to know how to strike people out, and when you get that many strikeouts and as a reliever, it goes into more confidence as a pitcher, because when you keep on walking people like some relievers do, you lose confidence in your pitches, which loses control, which ends up getting you more frustrated in your pitches and stuff. So I do think the strikeouts show he is confident in his abilities as a pitcher, and he does know what he's doing. I really like this move from Farhan. If you just look at some of his clips on YouTube or whatever, you'll see how he pitches and stuff, and he seems like he has a really simple form. He repeats it a lot. It's a good pickup for the bullpen because he is coming back from Tommy John, so we did get him for a really cheap price. If he didn't get Tommy John and his arm was fine, probably after the 2020 season, which I imagine he would have done better because it's a shortened season, I think he probably wouldn't get paid anywhere from $2 million to $3 million for 1 year. But since he got Tommy John, we're getting him for a much cheaper price. And especially with the bullpen we had in 2020, which wasn't really reliable, I do like this pickup from Farhan. All right. Sorry, my cat kept on meowing because she woke up from a nap and was really hyper or something. I don't know, but back to it. I really like this move from Farhan. He's really cheap and really low risk, especially for how much money we paid for him. I think he has a lot of potential, especially from the 3 years in the Cardinals organization. He only got better every year. He never got worse. So I think that really shows improvement, and especially if he comes back stronger from Tommy John, which some pitchers do, he'll look better and he'll just be worth the $800K. So, yeah, it's a really good move. So, yeah, let's move on to the second thing I want to talk about. I was looking at the rotation, and everybody who's active on the Giants roster because of this move, in our bullpen, which is mainly young pitchers that I think they're just giving a shot. But I really don't like Tyler Beede still being in the starting rotation. I think he still has potential, especially because he did come from Vanderbilt, and they have a great pitching program. They produce Walker Buehler and people like that. That's just on my top of my head right now. But he does have potential, but his 2019 season was not good. According to Baseball Savant, I didn't take any stats, but I just looked at Baseball Savant. He's in the bottom 25% of pitchers in exit velo, hard hit percentage, xWOBA, xERA, x batting average, x slugging, curve spin, and barrel percentage. And even if you don't know much about any of those stats or anything that's going on, you don't want to be in the bottom 25%. And with most of these, he's under like 15%. I just put 25% because he's like 23rd. He's in the bottom 23rd percentile in barrel percentage, and I just wanted to add something like that. And I think we should replace him with somebody, whether it's re-signing Tyler Anderson or moving up somebody from a bullpen or just picking up some random pitcher from another organization in some sort of trade. I don't know. I just don't like Tyler Beede being in our starting rotation because every single time he sets up to the mound, I'm not like, maybe he's got a chance to shut him down. I'm more of, please God, help this man throw a strike so we can get through this inning. And one thing I was thinking about, if we don't pick up Tyler Anderson again, which I hope we do, I do like Tyler Anderson, as I've said before in other podcasts. I do like Tyler Anderson, but not related, but his brother with the same last name, Sean Anderson, has moved to our relief pitchers. And he thrived in 2020. He did only pitch 15.1 innings, but he did have a 10.57 strikeouts per nine, which is excellent from his 6.56 strikeouts per nine in 2019, and a 5.87 hits per nine, which if he did get that in a normal season where he'd pitch a lot of innings, that would have been insane and definitely a world record or a league high or whatever. He just showed a lot of improvement in 2020, which I really liked. The only thing that held him back is, I think, the coaches just telling him, I don't care what you do, just throw as hard as you can and don't care about a ball or a strike. Because he had a 7.04 walks per nine, which is just insane. That's the worst in the league by far. And just to give you reference, an average walks per nine is like 3.4, and he got a 7.04. So I think the coaches, whom I'm guessing, just said, throw a ball. I don't care if it's a ball or a strike. Just throw your hardest. Try to get strikeouts. It did work. He did get more strikeouts, but at a very high cost of 7.4 strikeouts per nine. And again, that number is inflated a crap ton with 15.1 innings pitched. But yeah, it did show a lot of improvement for me. And I do think we should give him another shot to be a starter. I'm guessing he would want to. I mean, Liam Hendriks said in a Bauer Bites once that he likes being a relief pitcher. And obviously in 2020 and 2019, we saw that he's good at it as their closer. Because it's pretty much just unlocking your complete ability. Because when you're a starter, he said, you have to like conserve your energy a little, and you can't throw 100%, and you have to go 5 or 6 innings, and that's always in your mind when you're pitching. Like, can I throw this pitch, or will I be able to throw this long and be good throughout the whole entire 6 innings? But when you get transferred to relief pitchers, you're just completely open because you're thinking, instead of I got to go 5 or 6 innings, you're like, oh, I only got to pitch 1 inning? Hell yeah, let's just throw incredibly hard and just get through the inning as fast as possible. And I do think that's what we saw with Sean Anderson this year in the relief role. And when I was watching the game, at least, when he came in, it did inspire confidence. It may be because of his look, and he's definitely resembles... All right, well, we're cutting back again because my cats are playing and they just ran their head into my door. But yeah, I really like Sean Anderson. He did show a lot of improvement in 2020. If he could learn how to control his pitches more instead of just being completely wild, I do think that would help him a lot. Him like showing improvement in 2020, I think did mean a lot to everybody in the organization, even the fans, if they did notice it, because if you remember his 2019, he did not look so good. He was like the main rookie on the lineup, him and Tyler Beatty, and them not really showing that they are there to stay in the show, and they were like some of the big pitching prospects, if you want to call them, in the Giants organization at the time. And them not showing an inspiring confidence really put a damper. It's the same thing with Logan Webb now. Like, the Giants were really big on him, and they were waiting for him to get up to the major leagues. And after he took steroids in AAA, and after he had to, he got like a 100-game ban or something, and after he came up, and now he's just giving up a crap ton of home runs, and he's not really working out completely. It does not inspire confidence. But I think Sean Anderson's improvement in 2019 really did inspire confidence, or 2020, I mean. And I do think we should reward him with maybe one of the starting roles at the start of the season instead of Tyler Beatty, because I trust Sean Anderson a lot more than Tyler Beatty, and I think we should reward him with that. Now let's move on to the Padres. Now, the Padres made our division really interesting because during the 2020 season, when you faced the Padres, I was like, okay, this is going to be a really hard game, but we got a shot at winning it. Because, they had a couple injured pitchers and not everything was solid. But now the Padres, with them trading for pretty much, or them trading for in 2020 and 2021, or no, mainly 2020, some of the top pitchers in the league, with Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, and Mike Clevenger, along with Chris Paddock is the worst pitcher or is their 5 pitcher right now. I'm blanking on the pitcher that rose up in 2020. I'm forgetting his name because I don't have anything written down for this scenario, or not the scenario, but this part of our podcast. But the Padres really mix things up because it was Padres and Dodgers at the start of this, or in 2020. They were the top 2 teams in our division, 100%. Nobody really argued that because they had Fernando Tatis, who just went insane, Manny Machado, Will Myers. They all just went insane. And them signing one of the, I think it was the Korean shortstop, I forget his name, to a 5-year deal or something, and worth $8 million a year. That also made a statement because I'm pretty sure the Giants were maybe looking at him. They were also looking at the other Asian ball player who went to the Rangers. I personally don't like signing unproven Asian ball players from Asian leagues, like the Japanese league and stuff like that, because it's definitely a much, much, much different ball game here. It's much more physical, and instead of facing, let's say, a 5'10", 180 pitcher in Japan, you're facing a 6'3", 240 pitcher here who's throwing a lot harder, his ball's moving more. It's such a big difference that it's hard to transition, especially when you're 25 or 26, because people go to Shin-Soo Choo and Ji-Man Choi, who also played, who's in the Tampa Bay Rays organization. Well, he's a starter now, kind of. I don't know what's going on there, but both of them, they succeeded in the MLB, or they have succeeded in the MLB, just because they got signed when they were 18, 19, and they went through the minors and got to the majors, and they were developed to hit those kind of pitchers and play that kind of ball. But when you come over here from these leagues that are 25, and you're 25, and you're only taught to face Korean pitchers who like to throw more of nasty change-ups or whatever, I don't really know, who focus on off-speed more, then you're not used to 97 coming straight down the middle and you can't catch up to it. So that signing with the Padres, I was fine with. But it's mainly them having like five aces as their starting pitchers now. They got Blake Snell from the Tampa Bay Rays for essentially nothing to them, at least. They're 100% in win now mode. They don't really care about their like number 10 prospect, let's say, or their number 11 prospect, because if he's not going to make it to the majors in the next year or so, he's not really going to affect their win now mentality. And I think them going out and getting all these aces and possibly being better than the Dodgers is just insane to me. And that's why I think the Giants should go into more of a rebuild mode. And I know our fan base really likes winning. I do too. It's just that you have to think about the future. And when you're facing two of the top teams in baseball history, let's say, I don't know that actual percentage, but let's say like 35% of our games are against the Dodgers and Padres, maybe even more. It's really going to put a damper on how many games we even have possible. Like, we might win one or two of those on both of those teams, and then we'll lose like 22 games against the Dodgers or whatever, and then like 20 games against the Padres. That's like 42 wins or 42 losses right there. And we're not even like heavily favored against the Rockies and Diamondbacks. So I think we should go into more of a rebuild mentality. And I think we have been kind of rebuilding the past 2 years. Like, not completely, but we haven't been that good. I think Farhan's really good at finding these diamonds in the rough in free agency, like Wilmer Flores this year. But that can only go so far. Just because you find like a small diamond in the rough doesn't mean, like Wilmer Flores, doesn't mean it's going to carry you to the World Series. If we find multiple Yaz's, like he did in the Orioles organization, and that was an insane pickup, then of course we're going to make the World Series because he just found a diamond, like humongous diamond in the rough, and Yaz is arguably a top 4 outfielder in the league. So I think we should go into a rebuild, especially because of the Padres and Dodgers having a bright present and really bright future, with the Padres having like Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, and Clevenger for the next 3 years, and Gore coming up in their system as one of the, I think, the top pitching prospect. So it kind of forces our hand, whereas we maybe win 30% of the games against them to maybe 5% of the games against them now. And that's all I wanted to express. I know I've been rambling on. It's a little hot in my room. It's like, I don't know, probably 80 degrees in my room. So I'm definitely just rambling on. But I think we should go into a rebuild. I know a lot of people are against it, but we're not Boston. We're not the Boston Red Sox. We're a fan base that understands we need to rebuild. And I think Farhan, like, coming in, I think he is going to rebuild the franchise slowly. But he's going to make sure we're competitive every year. Like, in every game, we're never going to be like the Orioles or the current day Pirates or something. I don't think we'll ever go into a complete rebuild, because that's honestly incredibly boring. You don't want to go to a game and just be like, oh, we're going to lose. You want to go to the game and think, there's a chance we're going to win, or we are going to win. And I think Farhan understands that well. And I do think we will eventually become good again, maybe in like 2028 or something. I know it seems far away, but then again, 2020 flew by. So yeah, I think we'll eventually get back to what we were a couple of years ago, but I think we will have to have some kind of rebuild or something like that. We can't just be taking catchers in the first round for some reason. even if they're incredibly good at hitting, because we already have like 80 catchers in our organization. So I think we do need a rebuild, and that's where I'm going to end it off. Share this with your friends. Follow us on Twitter, I guess. I'm not going to be very active there because I just don't have time. I have school and stuff. So, yeah. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back every week or so. I don't really know. I'm just going to post these whenever I'm done with them now. I'm not going to have a planned date. And yeah, thank you for listening. Goodbye.